and welcome back to How to Collage Quirky Characters. This is class 5, and in this class we're going to be working on two things. One, we're going to be going through magazines and trying to find unusual things that we can incorporate into our collage pieces. And the second thing will be to take what we have left over from our collage sheets and incorporate them with the things we find in the magazines. Now, your collage sheets probably look like Swiss cheese. This is how mine look right now. But there's still a lot of things, a lot of elements that we can use from these collage sheets. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that we pull some out of here and use them in our collage pieces. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can do collage. And what I'm showing you is just quirky characters, just things that you can pull together and use in your journals just for fun. Things like this that you've seen in my 6/6. And so we're going to be just concentrating on actually building the characters just like we've done in the previous 4 classes. And then you can go ahead, once you have your characters built, then you can start incorporating different things to actually build your entire collage. And because we are focusing on quirky characters, it's not going to be that some of the different kinds of collage that might be landscape or just abstract, just really characters. So let's go ahead and jump in and get started because we've got a lot to look at. So over here, just to the left of me, and you'll see as I start to go through the magazines, I've pulled a couple things off our collage sheets. So I got 2 what I would call dresses or bodies, 2 possible heads, so the bird head that we have left and one of the faces, and then 3 sets of eyes, just as an example. And then I cut out my favorite legs that I still haven't used, and I'm going to show you what they look like. In addition to those, I pulled out my templates that I use to kind of frame and look at collage pieces, potential collage pieces. So I'm going to have these sitting alongside of me, and so that I can help frame things for you and hopefully help you to see them a little better. So let's get started with the first magazine. So what I've got are 4 magazines that I went through. I've got a sunset, and because these will be for more of the U.S., I don't know what's available internationally, but I think probably Oprah and maybe even Real Simple are available. But it still will give you the idea of what you're looking for. So I've got Sunset Magazine, Oprah, Sierra, and I put this in just because it's sort of unusual magazine. Not everybody would have this, but you might have something like this, like even a National Geographic. And then Real Simple. So let's start with Real Simple. And I've marked the pages to save some time. I've marked the pages so that we can go through these quickly. Now, this would be for a really large collage piece. And you could use, just a portion of this for your body. And then you'd need a rather large head or even a small head. And that's the thing about quirky characters. Having extremes, either an extremely large body with a small head or vice versa, really helps to build your character. So let's just say in this case, so I'm going to do it like this, and let's say we build something like this, and you might have to give her, cut this down more to her face shape. You have a little hat here, and then you've got this, and then you can just cut that down and you've got the base of your body. You could put arms and legs if you wanted to do that. Okay, here is one. You've seen me use this before, and this is just, I put a head on it, and I also use this tumbler, and I'm going to drop those pictures in for you to see. Again, another good one. You don't have to even use the whole bottle. You can just cut part of it off. And I'm going to move through these rather quickly because we've got a lot to look at. So here's one I thought would be excellent hair. So let's just drop a face and some eyes on there. And then you could use this as, say, a neck. And let's put that on and put some feet on her. And then all of a sudden, you've got a little collage piece. Can you see it? Can you see it well enough? Okay. This little bottle, I think it's a little jar from Yoplait, and I think it would be great. I would cut it off about there, and then again put, you'd probably have to build a neck, but go ahead and put something like that on. And again, what I'm saying is you don't want to just use the same head all the time. I just grabbed these so you could get an idea. And even if, well, let's look if we, put the legs on there like that. So, can you see what she would look like? I'm trying to block out all the other things so that you could see. This, I think, would be fabulous for hair. So let's just say if we use the bird, and we'd probably, you could even use that body actually and make that work. And then if you wanted to put legs on here, just slip them under like that, and you'd put some arms, and you've got your quirky piece right there. Here's another one that's quite dark, and it would be great on a light background. So again, you could just drop something in, a head and a neck on there, and you'd be good to go. This one I think would be super fun. Now what I would do is you could put a set of eyes right there, and let's put a dress on, and maybe put the legs on. And then I would probably cut it off right there and just cut right here. So it'd be like little like horns coming out of her head. Or if you wanted to actually use this as your face and use that more as a neck, then you could go this way and just trim it down and put the legs on. Can you see it? Can you see the image and what it would look like? It would even be fun to use all of this if your page was big enough. And a lot of this is going to depend on the size of your journal and what you're going to be collaging on. That will make a difference. Okay, let's take a look at sunset now. So the apple, you've seen my apple dude before, and this was the apple that I used along with that leaf. This would be a fun one, and I would cut her body out whole. So I would use her, and then it would be fun to maybe take the bird and put that right on there, something like that, incorporate it. Or you could put this head, this might even be better because she's got a little neck on there, and put a set of eyes, and you could incorporate that. Just like that. And then the other way you could do it is cut out her head and put it on another body, and that would work too. So probably not quite as easily. You'd have to sort of cut her arms out and just sort of play with it until you got something that you liked. But that's a good one. This hamburger is something that you could use. And how I see it is I would probably, put it this way for you, you cut out those hands right there, and then probably dress the hamburger. So you could, maybe put something like this, and then you'd need a neck, and then build from there. But it's a good body, and you could have a lot of fun with that, depending on what your collage piece was going to be. These would be great hats, or you could turn it upside down and it would be good bodies. So be looking for things like that also to use to incorporate. And these you've seen by Popsicle Girl in my Traveler's Notebook. And again, it was something very similar to this. I cut out the popsicle and then used that as the basis. And even these pieces you could use for something fun. You've seen the wine girl. She's right here. So this was the wine bottle. And I just cut a piece out and put some eyes on it. So again, that would be the same thing you could do with this. And you'd want a fairly large head on this. I don't have a lot of room on here. But something like that would work. And then I put the legs on. And you'd probably maybe, I don't know, want to put a little dress on her or something like that to dress up that wine bottle. Now I'm not putting arms on these because it would just take too long to show you that. But you get the idea. What I look for are shapes more than anything else. Shapes are the things that really draw me to objects. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. First of all, I'm going to turn it upside down. And let me build the piece kind of like this. I'm trying to frame out as much as I can. So what I would probably do is I would think this would be sort of a great hat. So let's drop some eyes and a face on there. And so now we're going to bring that up to that little hat, and she's got a neck. And then if you take a dress, now all of a sudden these look like wings. Can you see that? And then just put her feet under there, and you've got your character. I think that's really cute. I like that a lot. And it was just is from a table. So not only do you look at things right side up, you also can look at them right side, upside down, or even sideways. And here's another one of those Pure Leaf tea bottles like I've used along with the tumbler. Okay, let's look at Sierra because this is a little different. And when I went through this, there was one thing that struck me, and that's this picture right here. And can you imagine what that would look like on a body? It would be fantastic. So I would definitely cut that out and figure out what to do with it. And the last one we'll look at is Oprah. So this is the oil Valet, which I showed you previously. Okay. That's where he came from, which here's the oil Valet bottle. And what you really want in this case, because this is a large piece and this is a large bottle, and so, excuse me, what you want to make sure you do is have something. I think it needs to be bigger than the body, which is why I put a really large head on that. So that would be something that you'd want to find is either cut your piece very large, which is what I did here. I just cut it out like that and then did some stickers and added some flowers up here. So that's another possibility. Again, this would be good. Say we used, I don't know, the bird. You can kind of just incorporate him like that. And, you know, you could put a little collar or something on him, but you get the idea. So this would be if you had a smaller piece. And I am not going through these to show you eyes or legs or things like that. I really enjoy using the collage sheets for this because they're sized correctly. But you could definitely go through if you wanted to and cut out eyes and legs and arms. You know how to do that. You can see what those would look like. Again, here's another good shape for a body. And again, you could use something like that and trim down the neck. You could just get it right on there, make it look like that. Any number of things again. I'm just trying to help you get a sense of how you can use these shapes for your bodies and different ideas. Now this is one, I think this could be really cute in a couple ways. Remember I told you turn your pages sideways sometimes? So you could use this as wings. Something like that. And then, you know, just put your feet under there. So you've got your wings. But I think what might even be a little cuter would be to, let me turn it this way, use this brush as the neck. And you could put the bird on there. You could put the face on there. Drop some eyes so you can see. And there you go. Just something like that. The other thing you could do is if you wanted to incorporate that into your piece, let's say we just dropped the bird on here, and if you wanted to have that like a little top knot or something like that, that would work too. It would be a great wing. I wish there would have been 2 of those because it would have been a cute wing also. But again, that would work as okay as a wing. And a lot of this really is just practice. It's just playing around and seeing what might work. Now these guys would be great, their faces. And I'd have to cut them out first so that I could slip a body, because right now you can't really tell what they would look like. But I think they would be adorable. You could have them going this way too with their, like they were flying. But I think they would be fantastic, and I would definitely cut them out. Another pure leaf bottle. This is a smaller one in a different shape. And again, I think it would work very well. Here's a pure clay mask, and this would be very similar to the oil Valet one that I showed you previously. I think you'd need a big head, and you could even probably use this as the basis to start. Put these 2 together, maybe put a small neck between them, and then start building your face right on this piece, and that would probably work too. This is the fun of collage, in that you just cut your pieces out and you play. This would be fantastic for a body. So let's, if you wanted to not make it look so much like a violin, you could put, you know, a piece like that for the dress. And of course, you're going to have a lot more pieces to play with than just these 2 that I'm showing you. And then again, if you want a really long neck, you could do that. If you want to move it up a little bit, something like that. If you want a shorter neck and you want to use that kind of like a little top knot, you could do that as well. And then just drop her arms in right here. I think that would be fantastic. That's a wonderful shape for a body. Might be kind of interesting with the bird too. Yeah, that might be really cute with the bird, especially with that little top knot there. I'd probably even leave those. And then put a dress on it. And you don't even have to have, you know, use the whole thing. You're just using part of the body, so just cut it off, you know, so you don't have this part. So you just have that. Yeah, that'd be cute too. Okay, so we've gone through 4 magazines, and again, we're looking for shapes. That's really what's driving us, and you'll see an overwhelming theme to the shapes. You know, they're usually long or they're wide and squatty. Those 2 things are what we see all the time. Now I want to show you a couple other things. These are pictures from Pinterest, which are also a good starting point. One, you can incorporate them and then put body pieces to these, or you can just leave these as is, any number of things. But there's a great way to use these, and you can change them up so that they look different in your collage. See when you put eyes on there, and you could cut right along the hair right here so that you could slip those eyes behind the hair. And here's another one. See how that just, whoops, see how that just totally changes the look? And these are fun to do. I like to do this, and then you could incorporate them into a, you know, with a body. I don't have any of the right pieces to do that, but right here. But you get the idea of what you can do. And let's just to show you how different the eyes can look on, really change up your pieces. See how different that looks? And even here's one more set. So particularly the eyes, legs, and hands of the collage sheets are what I like the best. I think they're great. And then the miscellaneous pieces you can use for all sorts of things. So that's why when I get my collage sheets, I like to cut them up and put them in the bags that you saw me do previously, and label them by the body parts, and then you can just pick and choose and start playing as you build your collage pieces. So I want to show you a couple things in my traveler's notebook when we're talking about collage. So now that you've seen shapes, when I show you this, and I showed you that this was lettuce and this was a flower, you can see how those came together. How when you start looking for shapes and thinking about how you could use them, a flower really does look like a skirt, and you can imagine how you might incorporate that. And again, with the lettuce, it was just a matter of playing with it to see which way I could use it. But it was a shape I knew that I could use. The other type of collage that we didn't touch on, and I just wanted to mention, because this is still something else that you can do that's fun. If I can find it, it must be way back here. Here's another shape. This was a pear, and I got it out of Real Simple magazine, and it was the basis for this piece of collage. But what I wanted to show you is when you do things like this. So this was just a cat that I found in a magazine, and then this was a coat that I also found in a magazine, and I just made his head slip into this coat. So this is a different type of collage that you can do as well, and that would be more magazine based. This was a piece of jewelry, and I went through this in one of my flips. I went in a little more detail on how I did it. But again, that's something that you can do when you're collaging. And one other one I was going to show you. Again, this was a suit that came from a magazine, and then this was a Pinterest picture where I just put the head in there. So now when you look at things, you'll look at them a little bit differently. And it's going to change how you go through magazines, that's for sure. Now when we go through magazines, we've talked about this before, for your journals, it's a whole different process. And I went through that in Build Your Stash. But for collage, it's still even yet a different process, because instead of looking for images, you're looking for shapes and how you might use those. So it's going to change when you go through magazines. Make sure you read them first because when you start flipping through them, you're going to be looking at them entirely different. And what I generally do is after I've read my magazine, I will go through and I will first look for images that I like, that I want to use in my journal, and then for shapes. And go through them more than once, because you might miss some things going through them the first time. So what I want to do is show you, I took two images. So I made this image, and it's just bare. I hardly even cut it out very well, but I want you to see. So this was the table that I turned upside down that was in that Sunset magazine. And then if you look carefully at the top of that image in the Sunset magazine, you'll see a light. And I made those into earrings. And then everything else was from our collage sheets. So you should have one of those left over. These were the eyes. It was a face. I turned this little, what you could call a dress, upside down. And then these are the legs. So you can see how those get incorporated. And then I did this one. So this was that picture from Pinterest, and the link is down below to my Pinterest board, Quirky Characters, and you'll find her. And then I put the half face on. It fit perfectly, and the eyes. The crown here is from our collage sheet. I just cut it out and then cut it straight so that it would fit across on her head. This is the wine bottle. So I laid it on here until I liked the height of her, and then just cut her to fit the wine bottle shape. And then I put some arms on here and my favorite legs. Now, if it's too long for your image, you could just do it like this and have her sit on, if you frame this out with a border like we've done on the others, she could just sit on that and it would be fine, or some grass or something like that. Doesn't have to have legs at all. But on the back, if I flip this over, you can see there's the wine bottle image. So I hope this was really helpful for you guys, that you'll start looking at shapes in your magazine when you're looking for collage, and you use your collage sheets to help build your characters. Again, I will tell you that the arms, the eyes, and the legs on the collage sheets, on all of those collage sheets that you can get, particularly at Crowabout Studio, I like her collage sheets. You'll find that they work really well together, and then you can augment your bodies, and you can, oh, and here's one other thing. This, I forgot to tell you about this. This also came off of our collage sheet. I just covered up the wine bottle label and just put this little thing on there. And that's the other thing about the collage sheets that are so great. Oh, I didn't tell you about this either. This was one of the borders that was left over from our collage sheets, and I just put it there as kind of like a choker. So you see all the things that you can do with them. So if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I hope this was very helpful for you. Class 6 will be coming up, and that's where we're going to put a bow on it. And all of the things that we made in the earlier classes where I did tags and stamps, the faux stamps, I'm going to show you how to do those in PowerPoint. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.